Hey guys, Scott here. As DBD has gotten older over the years, there have been a lot more killers that have been really, really obnoxious to go against, and overall, the survivor playstyle has kind of gone down in fun. Solo queue has really become the hardest role in the entire game. And so today I wanted to go over the new approved list of killers that you're allowed to play in Dead by Daylight. We're going to go over an explanation for all of them and just go from there. So let's just start right with the beginning here. Trapper. Now, Trapper obviously is a very weak killer. He's not good whatsoever, but Trapper is also really boring to go against because there's not really much gameplay. You just step in a trap that's in some grass you could not possibly ever see, and he takes you to the basement and puts 7 traps around basement. That's extremely boring, and no one really wants to go against that. So because of basement Trapper, and because there's not really any interaction there, Trapper is going to be a no. Unfortunately, you're not allowed to be playing Trapper in Dead by Daylight. Next, we have Wraith. Now, Wraith normally should be seen as a pretty fun killer. He's not really overpowered. He's kind of solid. But unfortunately, there are a lot of Wraiths that rely on the hit and run strategy, which is really, really boring. There's basically no, there's no chase element to that at all. Sort of all the things you learn as Survivor don't really matter against the hit and run player of any kind, and Wraith is really good at it. Also, he's going to kick gens a lot, so unfortunately, Wraith is not allowed as well. Now, Billy used to be acceptable back when he was a barely functioning troglodyte, but he got buffed a lot now, and unfortunately, Billy is actually a very good killer. He's arguably an S tier killer right there with Nurse and Blight. So overall, his whole playstyle is actually pretty fun to go against, but he's just too strong now. So unfortunately, he's not really going to be allowed. Nurse, I mean, I don't have to say anything. She just ignores the game. Nurse is obviously not allowed. Myers. Now, Myers used to be kind of allowed, but not really anymore. Myers just got some buffs. And actually, it's still really, really shitty to go against Myers because your teammates might feed him a 99 stock, and then he pops up behind you with no Terradius, instantly tier 3s you, instantly kills you with Tombstone Piece. You have played 0 seconds of the game, and you're dead with no chance to react to anything. So unfortunately, because of add-ons like that, Myers is not allowed. Now, Hag is the proxy camping queen. She is the original proxy camper. People don't really know how to crouch or use brain cells, so unfortunately, Wraith in solo queue is just going to be impossible to go against, so she's not allowed there as well. Doctor makes you have to do madness removal, and then there's reverse skill checks which can mess with people. A lot of them run Merciless Storm, which is physically impossible to hit when you're at madness. No one has ever done it before, ever. So Doctor also negates all of your stealth perks and things like that. So really, the fact that he negates like 90% of perks in the game, Doctor is unfortunately not allowed. Huntress is the second proxy camping queen. Huntress is amazing at camping, and that's all Huntresses ever do. And also, it makes it so pallets are unplayable. Like, you just go down and drop a pallet in front of Huntress, and she just gets to hit you for free. Like, pallets are one of the only resources survivors get to use, so obviously that's not fair. You can't just deny one of the 2 resources that they have, pallets and windows. So the pallets become unplayable against Huntress. There's physically nothing you can do when there's a pallet involved. So Huntress, not going to be allowed. Bubba, I don't even think I need to explain anything. He's the face camping king. There's nothing you could do against face camping. Even if you get face camp auto, removal from the hook, it doesn't matter. He can still just hit you twice before your borrowed time runs out. So, unfortunately, it's not going to work. Now, Freddy right now, I will say, is just barely acceptable. Freddy is barely acceptable to play against right now. That's because he functionally does nothing. He has no effect whatsoever. He's basically a killer that doesn't have a power, which is about where we want the correct power level to be. So that's about right. However, in the past, he's had a really negative stigma with Forever Freddy and builds making gens take 4 hours. So I'm not really over that. So unfortunately, Freddy is still not allowed either. Pig is extremely toxic. They all teabag every time. All they do is follow one guy around and not let him get him traps off. They use the Face of Darkness build with Tampered Timer and make sure that guy's head pops. So obviously that's going to be extremely toxic, and that's not going to be allowed. Clown is just really boring to go against. He's just going to put gas on one side. He's going to run the other side. You're going to get hit every single time. Clown is just like legit one of the most boring killers in the game to go against. So obviously he's not allowed. Fuck Clown. Spirit. Spirit is unfortunately still not going to be acceptable. She used to be even worse, so they're on the right path. Maybe they should make it so you can see the spirit when she's using her power, and then like remove the movement speed bonus because like obviously she doesn't need that. She still gets like that lunge out of it, which is stronger than most powers in the game. So that should be that would probably make her acceptable to play against. But right now, I mean, going invisible and moving fast is just it's ridiculous. So Legion just makes me mend the entire game. Obviously, if you're injured, you can't really do anything. You can't like repair gens. You just stop moving. So you have to just heal every single time Legion hits you, and Legion gets to just hit you for free. So I mean, like, what are you supposed to do? You just spend 90% of the match mending and then healing on top of that, and then he just hits you again. So like that's it's unwinnable. Nothing you can do. Plague, same thing. When you're injured, you can't do anything. You can't repair anything. You can't break totems. You can't apply any of your perks, especially that involve healing and things like that. There's nothing to do with Survivor. It might as well just be the incapacitated stats effect. So, Plague and Legion both do this, unfortunately, so that's not going to be allowed. Ghostface is really, really buggy. Often I will reveal him directly through walls, but I'll ignore that. And he reveals me sometimes, and he can see me, and I don't get to reveal him, and that's really unfair when that happens. The other times when I reveal him through the walls don't really matter as much, but when he gets to stalk me and I'm looking right at him, that's incredibly frustrating, so he's not allowed. Demogorgon used to be seen as the wholesome killer, but people have really cotton onto the fact that he is actually one of the best zoners in the entire game, and going against zoners is really boring. There's not really much of a gameplay element there because they just hold their power and you just have to die, and there's nothing you can do. So Demogorgon, unfortunately, not allowed anymore. Oni, oh my god. Oni, don't get me started on these flickers. These people that are abusing these exploits and flicking way too high in the whole demon dash, it's ridiculous. There's no counterplay whatsoever. There's nothing you can do. And not to mention, my Timmy teammates are just going to feed him his power every 5 seconds. He's always going to have blood at all times. So he basically is just permanently in his power and permanently exploiting. So that's not allowed. Now, Deathslinger used to be a lot worse because they nerfed his ADS time. So he's a lot better to go against now. But it's still really unfair. I live in America and I'm in constant fear of guns, so that's not acceptable. Pyramid Head he's just the king of tunneling. I mean, he puts you on that cage and then he just teleports to your cage. And then as soon as you get off the cage, he just downs you. None of my 17 second chance perks do anything against him when that happens. So the fact that he's able to circumvent all of that makes him way too overpowered. Also, he can shoot through walls. Like, somehow that's fair. Okay, absolutely not. Blight, not even going to describe it. Twins, oh my god, Twins. Twins is just like the solo queue destroyer. She is a nightmare to go against. She's one of the most hated killers in the entire game because of that. Every single Twins just slugs everyone to death at 4 minutes. And she is absolutely a nightmare to go against if you're not a coordinated team. So Twins, absolutely not acceptable. Trickster is miserable to go against as well. He's almost as good as camping at Huntress. He might even be better at camping if he's got main event up. He basically counters every single pallet in the game, every single window in the game. Again, no counterplay. Nemesis used to be more acceptable to go against, but unfortunately, they buffed him a lot. Liquor Tongue makes you practically immobile now. Zombies can hit you during that time as well. Zombies are always interrupting you. There's always at least 3 zombies on your generator at all times, and they're always in hallways blocking you. The Nemesis doesn't even have to do anything. Nemesis could go AFK, and the Nemesis would still win because the zombies are just ridiculous and they're always in the way. So, yeah, Nemesis is not acceptable. Pinhead, my teammates never know how to find the box. I always know how to do it because I'm very good at Survivor, but my teammates never really know how to do it, and it's always their fault. It's always just no one can find the box, or the Pinhead is cheating and he knows where the box is, so he gets his own chain hunt, and that's obviously ridiculous. So no. Artist, luckily most people don't play her, but Artist is really, really boring to go against as well. She's able to kill you from anywhere on the entire map, and she's able to use like Dead Man Switch and trigger that basically whenever she wants, 50 times a game. So the fact that she's able to just shoot through walls, kind of like Pyramid Head, and she can also shoot things across the entire map, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. That's obviously ridiculous. Sadako, we've all gone against the Condemn strat. There's basically nothing you can do against that. If you're slugged and she just keeps building up Condemn, there's nothing you can do. So it's really unfair against solo queue players, and since I play solo queue, we can't have that. Dredge is not too bad, except Nightfall. When Nightfall happens, there's nothing you can do. You just basically run into walls, and there's just no counterplay whatsoever. You might as well just not be able to move during the entire duration of Nightfall, because all you can do is just run into walls and shit. There's also his Remnant power, which is just really boring to go against. It's like a 90-10 in favor of him. He leaves the remnant down. You run into it, he teleports. You don't run into it, he doesn't teleport. You still get hit. It's just really boring. Wesker is, I mean, every single Wesker is just abusing these techs. They're all doing hug techs. I'm just going to ignore the fact that they miss 14 of them in a row to get one cool video, but they're all abusing this, and I can't counterplay it at all. I have to hug the walls every single time. I don't realize that if I could just, like, you know, move away from the wall for half a second, it doesn't work. So, I mean, everyone is just basically exploiting with Wesker, so it's not going to work. Knight is obviously boring as hell because, I mean, what do you even do against Knight? You're at Shack, he sends one guard one way, you go the other way. I mean, there's just nothing you can do. He's just going to get a hit on you every single time. There's no effort. AI basically dictates his entire gameplay, so that's boring. Skull Merchant nowadays is not nearly as bad to go against. She's, you know, obviously still overpowered, but she's not as strong as she used to be. But unfortunately, the stigma of what she used to be able to do, I'm still traumatized from the whole Chest Merchant 3-gen thing. So I'm not over the yet, and we need to account for that. Singularity is obviously wildly overpowered. We've all gone against the knockout build before. There's nothing you can do against that. Even if you have a full 4-man comp team, there's nothing you can do against that. Singularity, once he's chasing you, you're just going to die in 15 seconds because he's just not affected by pallets or windows or anything. He just basically phases through all that stuff. So he was way too strong, and they buffed him, which is ridiculous. Xenomorph, luckily no one really plays Xenomorph, but he's also really boring to go against. The turrets never really do anything. And the tunnels are not, like, it's not clear enough when he's coming, so he's basically a stealth killer with no attack radius. He can just shoot over every single pallet in the game, so when I drop it in front of him and get hit, it's like, what am I supposed to do there? Obviously not okay. Chucky has been made a lot worse now, but again, kind of like Skull Merchant, I'm still not used to him. It's going to take a couple years for me to get over that stigma, so he's unfortunately still not really playable to go against so far. Unknown is kind of okay, but his ability to teleport back to Hook with his little things, I mean, every single one of them was just going to camp and go back to Hook, so that's obviously not going to be really fun. And also his power just can shoot over walls and stuff like that, which again makes my pallets just useless whenever he's ready to go there. There's just nothing you can do. You're going to get hit. It's not like you can run into him and dodge it and then run back. So, I mean, there's nothing you can do against that. Vecna has 4 powers. Need I say more? I mean, he literally has 4 powers. That's 3 more powers than every other killer, so nope. Dracula is basically Vecna. Now, Dracula only has 3 powers, but his 3 powers are better than Vecna's 4 powers, so really it's like 5 powers. So obviously that's way too strong. Half his stuff is just better than all the killers in the game combined, so stupid. Houndmaster used to be acceptable on the PTB when she didn't function and was terrible. That it was kind of okay to go against her. I didn't mind it that much. But now they buffed her to high hell. Every single thing she does is just ridiculously overpowered. There's no counterplay whatsoever. If you played this killer, you are just boring as shit because you know there's nothing anyone can do. If I vault, I get hit. If I don't vault, I get a hit. It's free zoning. Everything she does is completely free now. So that is ridiculous. And now you know what it feels like to main killer, and everything I play I feel guilty for now. Thank you.